What's that one embarrassing moment that keeps coming back to haunt you? When I was in grade 8, we had to give a presentation on a Greek god. I chose to do my project on Zeus. However, I was nervous and for some reason referred to him as Zeus. Jesus with a Z. The presentation was like 8 minutes long and I said it wrong countless times. It wasn't until I finished the presentation a kid asked, "You do know it's pronounced Zeus, right?" Quote.
Jesus Christ, I'm dead. My mom threw me a graduation party. She had the party in the community room of the local rescue squad and had a table full of food. No one came. Most of the people she invited were fellow graduates, so they had their own thing going on. We gave the food to the rescue squad people. I mostly felt horrible for my mom. Just writing this story made me feel like shit, and it has been 25 years since this happened. Edit. Thank you all so much for your comments and sharing your own experiences. I haven't talked about this since it happened and it has haunted me since. Reading your comments has been therapeutic and healing. I wish I could have a party with all of you. I was taking a bus home from the beach years ago. When I got close to my stop, I walked to the front of the bus, so I would be ready to get off. I was wearing a denim skirt that was a bit loose, but I had been wearing it all day without a problem. Well, the denim had gotten a little wet at the beach, which made it heavier, and it sort of stretched out a bit while I sat during this 2-hour bus ride. So, as I'm standing in the front of this crowded bus, with my hands full of my belongings, I can feel my skirt begin to slide down. I didn't have any hands free to grab it, and nothing to lean against to hold it up, so it fell all the way to the floor. The passengers around me just stared as if they were in shock. This was pre-everyone glued to their phone days. I stood there in my granny panties, wanting to cry, but I started laughing like a maniac instead. I must have looked like a total nutjob. I stopped wearing skirts after that. Dresses are safer.
When I was in first grade, I had just recently moved to Oklahoma. My class was doing a showcase for the school assembly in 2 weeks. We were going to do some line dancing, and I was paired up with a boy I really liked for part of the routine. I practiced like a maniac in an attempt to assimilate to my new country classmate way of life. I guess I had forgotten to give a note to my parents saying that they wanted us to wear cowboy boots for the performance. I showed up to the showcase in flip-flops. The partner section starts happening and I'm kicking my legs like I'm a rocket. My flip-flop flies off into the crowd and hits an older kid in the face. I immediately stop in the middle, but the people behind me didn't get the memo that I launched a projectile into the crowd. The person behind me runs into me and falls into the crowd. This has a domino effect and causes a mini pile-up of 7-year-olds. I hobble off the stage into the bathroom with only one flip-flop. I cried while I waited for my teacher to give me back my shoe. Just started dating this girl. She's half Korean. I go to her parents' Korean church. The whole way there they were explaining how I was going to be greeted by the pastor and I was supposed to bow, be as respectful as possible. Well, seeing that he was Korean, he had quite the accent. He greeted those in front of me. "Welcome, welcome." My dumb ass thought he was saying, "Where from?" Quote. So in front of the church and my GF parents, of whom I just had met, I got up and yelled, "Nick Purvis, Bowie, Maryland." He looked extremely confused, didn't bow, just stared at me, and let's just say, her parents weren't super hyped. Edit. These comments are great. Haha, I do not live there anymore. Thank you for the concern. And for those trying to flex their Googling skills, please stop sending me addresses and saying you know where I live. Thanks. One time in college I walked right out of a presentation I gave without taking questions. I genuinely forgot to ask or answer.
Honestly. That's a power move. Fuck your questions, I just told you everything. No further research is required in the field. Went to the urinal to take a piss before a C-level meeting and tried to squeeze out a fart and shit myself. I had to clean up in a stall and call in sick from the bathroom. I exited the building out a back fire exit.
I cannot stop laughing as I read this. There is a 100% chance I will think of this story and laugh the next time I use a urinal. Please be careful. Freezing up in the middle of a best man's speech. My brain just went completely blank. I had never had a problem with stage fright before, so it caught me off guard and made it worse.
I was at the airport one time and during the security check-in, one of the TSAPPL stuck his hand out in front of me. I proceeded to give him a high five thinking he's trying to be friendly only to realize that he meant for me to wait in line. Feeling red-faced thinking ABT it RN. So I was interviewing for a job in the bio industry early on in my career and it was a panel interview with about 10 people. They asked me what would set me apart from other candidates, so I went into the normal spiel about being a fast learner and easily cross-training in multiple areas. As soon as I said that, one of the guys laughed and a few jaws dropped, and I quickly realized that instead of saying cross-training, I said cross-dressing. What sets me apart from other candidates? Cross-dressing. I did not get the job. This sounds like a Cards Against Humanity card LMAO. I was doing a stupid cleanse diet that involved drinking large amounts of psyllium husk powder. After 4 days without a bowel movement, I ended up fainting on the toilet while straining to squeeze out a huge log of shit. My younger brother heard me falling and hitting my head against the bathtub. He rushed in to find me passed out on the floor, naked with shit smeared between my legs and all down the front of the toilet. This was years ago and my brother and I can laugh at it now, but the memory still sneaks up on me at night when I'm trying to get to sleep.
You ever shit so hard you launch yourself off the toilet and knock yourself unconscious? Thin_host has.
When I was 13 I got my first bikini swimsuit. The top didn't have a strap on the neck or anything but just stretched across my chest. I went swimming one day with my cousins while on vacation at my grandmother's house. I swam all day long and the bikini stayed in place just as it should. We packed up and I threw on a t-shirt over my swimsuit for the ride home. Grandma did not go swimming with us and was at home eating popcorn at her table when we came in. There were uncles, aunts, and older cousins at the table with her. When she saw me in my t-shirt she jokingly asked if that was all I was wearing. I said nope and proudly pulled my t-shirt over my entire chest to show her I had on a swimsuit. I watched as her face changed to shock and she choked on her popcorn. I looked down and what do you know, my freaking top had slid beneath my boobs, exposing them and making them stick sort of straight out because the top was right under them. Everyone at the table just died laughing, all with red faces, putting their heads down and pounding the table howling with laughter. So yeah, I flashed my grandma and some relatives with my boobs. I was starting out as a teacher in this English course and one day I had a bad diarrhea in the short break between 2 classes. All of my colleagues were gathered in the teacher's room, waiting for the next class to start. I entered the bathroom connected to the room to relieve myself, and as I was finished I was embarrassed of opening the door to the room and let everybody smell the reminiscent odor. So I had the brilliant idea of opening the glass window of the bathroom, to let the wind circulate a little before opening the door. The window was stuck and as I forced it, it fell, breaking in a million pieces on the floor. Everybody heard the noise and knocked on the door. I had to open it and they not only smelled the horrible diarrhea but also figured out my attempt to open the window to get rid of it. LOL. It was so humiliating.